Yo, what's up, everybody? I'm Brian Altano. I'm here with Colin Moriarty. And this year is the 125th anniversary of Nintendo as a company, which I think marks 125 years of people saying Nintendo is going to go out of business this year, which clearly hasn't happened yet. So we here at IGN thought we'd look back at some of our favorite Nintendo games of all time. Obviously, this one is on the list.
Oh, of course.
A little gem that came out in, what, 1985
Yep.
in North America, called Super Mario Brothers. This game blew people's minds when it first came out because it was one of the first platforming games of all time that wasn't totally terrible.
It's just an extraordinary. I mean, what I always say about this particular game is that it's just a game. It's just a master class in gameplay.
Yeah.
Like it's just I'm gonna do this because it bothers people.
Well, points don't mean anything in this game.
No.
But yeah, this established. We had some Mario games before this, or games where Mario-esque characters appeared, such as Donkey Kong, which featured Jumpman, and then there was Mario Brothers, which was Mario and Luigi fighting over the same screen. But this game had something called levels, which was crazy. There was bosses. There were there was actual level variety. There were worlds. Power-ups. All these types of things that we see in games constantly now. Super Mario Brothers kind of invented in a lot of ways and almost perfected right out the gate, which is kind of interesting. A lot of games from this era don't hold up very well. This one really does. Like, I really feel like this is one of those games you can hand to somebody who's never played a video game before, and they'll sort of get it. They'll sort of it'll start coming together. And it had all sorts of weird quirks, like what Colin's doing right here, which blew people's mind the first time you could find out. You could run on top of the levels and then warp to different worlds instead of having to go straight through in a linear approach.
Yeah, the game's just. I mean, I still feel like this game is just extraordinary in the sense that it still influences everything today. It might not be the first side-scroller or game of its kind, but it certainly is the most important.
Yeah.
It's arguably the most iconic game of all time. It's easily one of the best games of all time. And I think what's so kind of cool about it is that it's a game I think everyone understands. It's a gaming language that everyone understands.
Yeah.
We might, some guy might prefer his RPGs, another guy might prefer his flight sims, whatever. But I think everyone kind of has a little touchstone with Mario.
Yeah.
And to me, that makes it a special game in the DNA of gaming.
Yeah, there's a lot of kind of amazing stuff you mentioned about how it's sort of like a master course in gaming. What I really enjoy about it is, you start off the game World 1-1. The first thing that happens is you walk directly into a Goomba. And if you don't jump, you die. So you die immediately. So within seconds, the game teaches you, like, oh, there are threats, and you need to avoid them.
Right.
You're like, all right, cool. And it sort of brings in new mechanics throughout the game, sort of like that, where it's sort of fight or flight. If you don't figure it out, you're dead. Like this right here is one of the first times you're actually forced to do the kind of running jump. You can kind of get by the rest of the game without really doing it, but if you don't hold down the run button, you're dead. Which was always interesting to watch people play this game who didn't press the run button, or people who, while playing this game, move the controller wildly in the air to jump.
It's funny you say that too, Brian, because I hold the B button down just instinctively.
Me too. Me too.
And that is that's a thing that Mario taught us.
Yes, and I do it in most games, and when games don't let me do it, platforming games feel a little off when that's not there.
I agree.
And this game has really stood the test of time. It's one of the best Nintendo games ever made. It's one of the best video games ever made. Every single pixel in this game went on to inspire something later in the Mario universe. All these turtles are now masterfully recreated in 3D. All these warp pipes have become a staple of the franchise as transportation. All the power-ups are there. They're in Mario Kart. They're in Mario Golf. All the little details in this game all went on to be something important in the Nintendo universe and the Mario franchise. So, it's and there's one-ups.
How do I remember where this stuff?
Of course
I haven't
you do.
played this game in forever.
It's I play this game probably once or twice a year straight through, just to sort of just because it's comfort food to me, and it's all muscle memory.
Yeah, it
I
really
don't even
is.
think about it. It's just tied to actions in my thumbs and my brain. I could be getting yelled at by somebody next to the TV, and I'd be like, sure, honey, okay, and I would look down and I would be like, oh, during that argument, I beat Super Mario Brothers for NES without thinking about it. And that's not because it's easy. It's just because it's all so ingrained in my brain. These guys are still a pain in the ass. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's Super Mario Brothers. it will always be Super Mario Brothers, one of the greatest video games of all time, one of Colin and I's personal favorite video games of all time.
Oh, there it goes.
Oh God.
Yeah, and it's it's one of those games. I was talking in another video about games that are must plays that you have to understand the DNA of games. You have to understand the history of games, and this is one of them.
Yeah.
You have to play this game if you've never played it. So
yeah.
So get on it. It's brutal. It's hard. It's a lot of fun. It's rewarding when you beat it.
Yep. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Super Mario. For all things Nintendo and more of our favorite 125 Nintendo games of all time, keep it locked right here to IGN.